do it with my hands. The pressure, he's in trouble. Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle. It's a Dolphin touchdown. Throwing deep upfield on the near side. Man open. Touchdown! Looking deep. He's got it there. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's got it for the touchdown. He's in. Touchdown! Tagovailoa trying to make up for it. Fire to the end zone. Touchdown!
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan.
3, 1, 2, 3, hit! Let's go!
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. And boy, oh boy, we back at it like a Craftmatic as we are back for another one. It's been a long time coming. All right, let me tilt the crown because the king is back. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I hope all of y'all had a fantastic break. I know it was quite eventful. It was quite the eventful break. We got some things to go over and some things to talk about that happened while your boy was sipping pina coladas on the beach in the Bahamian sunshine. It was beautiful, beautiful time. Amazing time. Yeah, I got the sun, you know, the man with the golden tan right now. But listen, let's just hop into it because we got a lot to go into, and I see all y'all saying welcome back. Appreciate all of y'all getting here, man. I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you go take your family to Atlantis, Paradise Island in Bahamas, you best be ready for those 20,000 plus steps a day. It is no joke. And in that heat, oh boy, your boy came. I'm telling you, I'm an island boy too. You know, if people know me, I lived in Barbados for about 6 months of my life when I was younger, and I was an island hopper, which is because of my parents when I was younger. I'm an island boy. I need that vitamin D and sunshine. I ain't built for this Canada weather, even if I was born up here. So I come back rejuvenated. I feel like Superman when he just flew in the sun, and now I'm coming back. So we're good to go. But man, I'll tell you, shout out to the island of Bahamas. There are so many Dolphin fans there, from my waiters to, you know, people just walking around to, I don't know how many staff on the resort were Dolphin fans, you know, giving me the right of way because I was rocking my Dolphin gear. You know, I had one waiter come up to me one night we were out with the family, and you know, shout out to the wife and shout out to my mother came along with us as well with our 2 children. And man, you know, they were getting frustrated at times because people were coming up to me because of my hat and what I was wearing and stuff, and I was getting into 20-minute, 30-minute conversations about the Dolphins nightly and every couple hours when we'd go out. So shout out to them for putting up with it. You know what I mean? Because they'd be sitting there eating bread while I'm just chatting my head off or sipping on whatever they're sipping on. So, man, I had one guy come up to me. He's coming to his first game this year at home for the Dolphins against the Jets. And also, he named his first son Marino. I said, listen, brother, the best I can do is my first ever cat. I named him Marino. That's the best I can do for you. My first ever orange tabby. I gave him the name of Marino. I said, I can't go there yet. I said, hopefully if I convince the wife to have another one and it comes out a son, we can name him Tua if he wins me a ring. But other than that, I don't know where we're at right now. So, man, football is back this week. It is, man, I woke up yesterday with a smile on my face. It was going to be the last Sunday with no Dolphin football for hopefully well into February, baby. So it was, you know, I woke up with a smile on my face. We're ready to go, ready to rock. And it all starts tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. I got some announcements coming. I'm working on something, and it's coming down to the 11th hour. But we could have something rolling for y'all this season that I think you're going to like. I'm not going to get into it, details. A couple people know what I'm working on behind the scenes. But when I get there to a point that I can announce it, I will announce it. hopefully I can get that locked down for week 1. But tomorrow night, myself, Dudley Durong, Richmond Webb, Mr. Ballgame. Richmond may be a little late, but Richmond Webb, Mr. Ballgame, Martin, Neil Driscoll, Kevin Dern. We're going to have our yearly regular season round table with our game-by-game predictions. 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, 8 p.m. Central. You're not going to want to miss the All-Star cast. It's going to be a real good one. Every year it is. We've been doing this for years. If you've been following, we've been doing this since the inception of this channel. Okay, in 2020. So this is going to be, yet again, we're doing it. Same cast of characters. So we will be live tomorrow, 9 p.m. Myself, Dudley Durong, Martin, because you know those all 22. The originator of the Two at Tuesday, often imitated, never duplicated over here, right? So he'll be on, Neil will be on, Richmond will be on, Kevin Dern will be back, Ballgame will be back. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. So we got you kicking into content high gear already. As soon as I get back, baby, I ain't stopping. As soon as I landed yesterday, it was all right. What are we doing? What are we getting to work on? And here we are. So we got a lot to talk about, man, because a lot happened while I was out there and y'all were out here listening to this circus and clown show, whether you're on YouTube or Twitter. You had people out here clickbaiting y'all with titles, breaking news. You know, Jonathan Taylor will be a Miami Dolphin when these people are not plugged in. They don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Nothing. Let me tell y'all this. YouTube channel members, Patreon members, they are all privy to this, as well as the first to learn of this. We're the homie Anthony. He's one of the mods here. He also at FinSports F. FinSports Football was his podcast he used to run back in the day, as well as Neil Driscoll, as well as the Dolphin fan. Guys, I even read this in a space. I knew Green Bay was the mystery team Monday morning. Remember, I arrived in Bahamas Sunday night. Okay? So I knew all about that, and I put my little receipt trail out there. I let Anthony know. I let the homie EM know. I let the homie Neil know. Neil went into spaces with my info and said, hey, Reason let me know. He's hearing it's Green Bay, blah, 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 blah. You had people jumping on it and trying to say, oh, this is my lead. Green Bay's a lead. And then they're trying to act like it was theirs. You had other people out here telling y'all the Bills were the mystery team. You had other people arguing with themselves. There isn't another mystery team. We're going against each other. Nah, man, it was the Green Bay Packers from the time. You know what I mean? And A.J. Dillon or Aaron Jones were going to be in that package. Remember, I had told you something I had heard, that they wanted potentially a running back in return. If you're a Patreon member or a YouTube channel member, you know this. I said they wanted a running back in return. If not a running back, they wanted an impact player. That's why you heard the rumors of them coming out for asking for Jalen Waddle, Robert Hunt, and Christian Wilkins. What do those three fall under? That category I said, if they weren't getting a running back in return. It literally played out the exact way I said it would. All right? So, you know, I knew it was Green Bay. Dude, I was told by my plug, Green Bay was negotiating with Jonathan Taylor on Monday. That's why, and then what came, and that's exactly what I had sent out to my people, and they knew. And then what happened? All these people who run around crying, they won't give up anything for running backs. Wrong. They won't pay a running back. Wrong. Because us in Green Bay, it came out verified that we were willing to make him one of the highest paid running backs in the game. And what had me and Neil Driscoll been telling all of y'all along? I had told all y'all. I said to all of y'all, when packages started leaking, and because before I left, when packages had started leaking and they had gone to the table, what did I say? I said, they're already comfortable with paying him and making him one of the top paid guys in the league. That's why they're willing to engage in trade talks to begin with. What happens? They are willing to make him, and this isn't about being right or wrong. This is about, I'm not trying to pat myself. This has nothing to do with that. This is, let's remember the timeline, okay? Because you had people out here trying to say, you got people out here playing the result. You got people out here because Chris Greer didn't come out and tell you How many credible people have to come out and tell you the extent these conversations were going to? You got me on YouTube, but then you got all these credible people in the media talk about players that were involved, talk about assets that were involved. And remember, shout out to the homie Neil Driscoll. He was the first one who said we were willing to include a second-round draft pick, and that was correct. They wanted a second-round pick if we weren't going to give them a first, along with one of those players. So he nailed the second-round pick. They're willing to come off that. So shout out to Neil Driscoll as well. This isn't just a patting around. I'm telling all y'all, stop listening to these people who will clickbait you, and stop listening to these people who are trying to play off the result and say, oh, well, because it didn't happen and Greer went up. What are you talking about? Yes, if they were talking players like Jalen Waddle, Christian Wilkins, Robert Hunt, you're not going to get close in those conversations. Those three players are conversation enders. Jalen Waddle is the future of that receiving core when Tyreek Hill leaves, okay? They've lined that up. When Tyreek Hill leaves, Waddle will be getting an extension. Robert Hunt is the only young potential all-pro lineman Greer's potentially hit on so far. Do you think he's going to ship him off when he can also kick out to right tackle if an injury ever happens there? Untouchable. He's part of the core. Okay, they're gonna pay him, but I just don't like how they didn't get out ahead of it. Anyways, Christian Wilkins. What have I told all of y'all? I've said, even when I heard they were far apart in terms, what did I tell all of you from day one? That they did not want to trade him. That I was told consistently he would be part of the roster. Trading him was... Now, I may have suggested, hey, would you trade Jonathan Taylor for Christian Wilkins straight up? That's a suggestion. That's asking you guys a question. That's not me saying, hey, I'm reporting that trade 1-for-1. From the get-go, I said I had heard they did not want to trade him because they did not think they were going to have this collective of talent together. Again, they know they're going to lose talent next offseason. So, covered. Zach Skylar, I can say Zach Skylar hit me by surprise, hit me and some of my plugs by surprise, hit other people I know in this community who podcast, let's say, and are very, very plugged, and they got hit by surprise that they pivoted. That's how low they kept the Zach Skylar stuff. And I'll tell you exactly why they pivoted, because if you don't follow me on Twitter, you might not have seen it. The number I've heard, and I reported this earlier while I was in Bahamas, Twitter was where I was reporting, basically. The number I've heard is $24 million for Christian Wilkins. That is what I heard they're asking for. That is what I heard him and his camp is asking for, $24 million. Now, that's a fluid situation. Could he come down? I don't know. Could it go up if he has an amazing season? Sure as shit it could. But the number that I was heard that was not happening is $24 million, and that's what I heard. And Scotty, what did I tell people on Twitter? People, Reason, what's the percentage of the chance you give this? Reason, what do you think this is? And I told everyone. It's even in text receipt on Twitter in a thread, or X, whatever you want to call it now. I said it all comes down to whether Irsay and the Colts are willing to play ball. That was it. I said, he will be a Dolphin. I believe my exact quote was, Jonathan Taylor will be a Miami Dolphin if Irsay and the Colts are willing to play ball. And then you heard Ballard talk about after the fact, and it was so evident how much Irsay was having a hand in this whole situation. Because here you go, Reason's coming out of the gate firing, okay? I've been told by my source who's been right about Green Bay, remember, same guy, same plug who gave it to me. I was out ahead of... Listen, whenever you want to talk about people with wrong sources, go talk about whoever you want to talk about. Don't talk about Reason. Because I had Jonathan Taylor and the Dolphins 3 weeks before it even hit the media. So don't talk about me in this situation because I've been spot on. So let's go here. Same source. This relationship is irreparable. And this is where we're going to get into this. Let's open that up. That's going to be my opening thoughts. Let's get into Jonathan Taylor right now and the trade deadline. This ain't done, ladies and gentlemen. Prepare for this to drag out. I don't care for 5-3. I don't care for 4-4. We will be in that conversation. And what's going to happen? Derrick Henry is now going to be involved. Irsay and Ballard potentially shot themselves in the foot even further because this is going to go on to the trade deadline and the Dolphins will continue to be tied to it. Okay? They're going to Jeff Wilson is already banged up. My boy A-Chain, because he got body slammed like it was the water boy, His shoulder's messed up. Okay. Love Chris Brooks. We don't know what we got yet. Ahmed's banged up. Mostert. Let's hope it doesn't happen, but history tells us it will. They're going to be, I'm telling you right now, Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor are going to be heavily tied to us, especially if the Titans are losing. Especially if those Titans are losing. It's coming. Here we go again. Get ready. This ain't done. This ain't done. I'm telling you right now. I have been told, you want one out of the gate? I've been told Jonathan Taylor, let's play the timeline. Because I asked my guy, I said, listen, he can't come off PUP till the beginning of October. I said, is he going to play another down for the Colts? I was told at this point, he is not going to play another down for the Indianapolis Colts. Because the trade deadline is at the end of October. This is going to, I'm telling you, this is about to happen. He's going to get traded somewhere. And now that you don't, listen, you don't think that his camp smartly leaked the whole negotiating process between the Packers and the Dolphins? They're pissed off. They know two teams are willing to pay him. Well, the team he's with aren't even willing to go to the table. Now he's on PUP and can't come off till October. And I've heard, if they try to force him off, injury. Remember when no one believed me about the Xavier Howard injury, when I told all y'all he was going for the new money and I heard he's going to get an injury in that offseason. What happened? Injury. I've heard the same thing for Jonathan Taylor if they try to put him back out there. Because now he's protecting his body unless they're going to pay him. Because he knows two teams are willing to not only trade for him, but pay him. So it's a totally different ballgame. He got more leverage than people think he is. Because he's also a free agent. They could try and roll over all they want, but this is going to get real ugly. And they're going to force to move him anyways. And the problem that's going to hit them now, Ballard and Irsay, is we all expect Malik Willis or Will Levis is going to be the starter by that Monday night game I'm planning to come down for. If that happens, where do you think they'll be by the trade deadline? Bye-bye, Derrick. What can we get for you? We got to rebuild. That's exactly what's going to happen. And that's going to get in the negotiation path for Ballard and Irsay, and that's going to drive down Jonathan Taylor's price because there's another premium option, albeit not with the years available, there's going to be a cheaper option. If a team wants to make a year, a short-term run with Derrick Henry, it's there on the table. And the contract's already there. So this is going to continue. They are going to pursue. Guys, if we're winning, they're going to, listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't give a fuck. I won't even wait till my preview. I think we're going to stomp out the Chargers. If you want my honest opinion, I think Staley's going to see stuff from Fangio he's never seen before. And they're going to go into halftime scratching their head, how the hell do we adjust? And I don't think it's going to be and I think it's going to be a too late of a game adjustment by the Chargers. I think we're going to win like 27-13. I actually think we're going to smash them, if you want my honest opinion. I think, and anything they throw at us, Fangio, we've got the counter, baby. It's right there. It's right there sitting up in the booth. And what's Fangio doing? Fangio ain't sitting up in the booth just for his defense. He's sitting up in the booth to watch Staley's defense too from a high level, how they rotate what they're doing so he can figure it out quick and relay it to Mike. That's exactly what's going to happen. So I actually think we're going to stomp them out, if you want I think they're a team that's being hyped up, and they're going to fall flat week 1 against us, and it might get ugly for them. I actually think we're going to, Fangio and Ronaldo Hill, they're ready for him. I think they're going to pump him. Ronaldo Hill knows everything Staley knows. Fangio taught him Staley everything he knows. Buddy, it's making for a disaster for Herbert. It is, if you think about it. I think Herbert's going to see stuff he hasn't seen yet. I honestly think we're going to light him up. I think our front's going to dominate. I think our front's going to just eat them. And then I think on the back end, we're still good enough, even without Ramsey. I think we're still really good on the back end without Ramsey, and he's going to just tinker with them. I'm very confident going into week 1. I'm not even going to lie. Anyways, I digress. 4-4, 5-3, I still see us making this move because they can sit there and say, hey, in those last 9 games, we can win 7 of those. And boom, we're in. You know? So I think this is going to, they're going to make that. Guys, it's beyond question anymore. They're looking for an upgrade as possible because this is how serious they are of taking this run game to the next step. And they tried to handle it before we even got to the season. Shout out to Chris Greer for not caving too. You can say what you want about the man. Everyone knows my issues with him. He doesn't get out ahead of contracts. And I don't like how he treats the offensive line a little bit like the running back room. Well, I digress. I might have to take that one back, huh? So that one might have to, that's got an asterisk by it right now until we see what happens. But I think I think we're going to go back, and I think here we go again. Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry are going to be linked to us. Especially as long as it stretches out. So hopefully, listen, I don't think they're still gonna put out feelers. They're done talking, but they're not stopping talking. You get what I'm saying? That's where it's at right now. This is gonna keep going. I'm telling you, he's gonna be on. He can't come off PUP till October. The trade deadline's at the end of October, right? Another injury again. I'm just saying. So, you know, I know. Listen, when I know how Malky's connected to Mike McDaniel, which I told y'all from the get, they're good friends. Come on. Injury? Yeah, Mike McDaniel. Yeah, Mike, he had an injury. Right? He wanted to be here. He knew you'd pay him. He had an injury. He wanted to save his body for you. Listen. When he's healthy, he's a top 10 player in the NFL. I don't know what else to tell people. And that's a difference maker. He can make our offensive line better. Even used to say Dalvin Cook could have made our offensive line better. Jonathan Taylor will make our offensive line better. That man wakes up and gets yak. Yards after contact. I'm not going to go yards after catch. I'll go yards after contact. All right? So, listen. Be prepared. That's all I'm going to say. I see people are frustrated with the saga. People are frustrated with the situation. They just want it over and done with. Guys, especially if we win. Guys, especially if we're winning, they're going to be looking for the final piece to add here. Buddy, I wouldn't even be surprised. Listen, if we're like 7-1 or 6-2 at the trade deadline, that first round draft pick comes on the table for me, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever you got to do, finish this roster off if we're that good by the trade deadline and get me Lombardi. Go get me Vince. I don't care about nothing else. I'm not going to be talking about a first round pick, 32nd overall in April if we're sitting there watching Tua, watching Wilkins, watching Chubb, watching the guy I wanted to win it for the most, Xavier Howard, hoisting that trophy up. You think they'll give 2 craps about a 32nd overall pick? Let's be real right now. Okay? They're going to make more money off that Lombardi than they're going to make off that 32nd overall pick. Let me tell you that. And I'm going to tell you right now, DraftKings, you need to smash the 1 touchdown or the 2 touchdowns on Chris Brooks right now. I'm telling you, you need to smash it. Smash. All right? Because there's a good chance he gets some carries in that red zone this week. Go make yourself a little money off Chris Brooks potentially. Because, listen, I'm rooting for Chris Brooks. I'm on the train, baby. Whoever's driving that thing, I'm on it. Because I wasn't driving that one, but I'm on it now. And I'll tell you this much. Same thing with A-Chain. And even though everyone knew I drove the A-Chain train, and I still drive that baby, we don't know what they are yet. They haven't faced the top dollar guys. They haven't faced the top guys, the cream of the crop. They haven't given a chance to be the cream that rises to the top, let alone face the cream of the crop yet. So we don't know. We don't know. But let's get into this. We got a lot to talk about today. Over 420 of you in the room. I'm glad y'all could join. Let's start off. Let's keep it with the Jonathan Taylor. Why not? This is what Peter King said today in Football Morning in America. I think if Colts GM Chris Ballard, I give Jonathan Taylor 2 weeks of a cooling off period, then quietly meet with him and assess if there's a way to make the relationship sound again. If not, get a second round pick and a conditional pick from Miami, which is what I said, right? I will give you a second round pick and a conditional fourth that can turn into a third. I said I'd give this. The third would have to be from next year, but you get where I'm going at. I'm assuming the running back star of Dolphins would pay that for 13 games of a top 5 back if he comes off the pup in week 5. So he can't come off, like I told y'all, can't come off until October, plus a likely contract extension. The condition will be nothing if Taylor only plays 2023 in Miami. If he is on the opening day roster of Miami in 2024, then it becomes a third rounder. I literally said this from the beginning, people. This was literally my package from the beginning. This was literally my package. I said I will give you a second and a fourth, and that fourth will be conditional and turn into a third. This was literally my package. Get it done. I want to make the greatest show on turf look like child's play, and Jonathan Taylor getting that. Like, if Terron Armstead's healthy, that's our Orlando pace. We've got the receiving core. I'm taking Tyreek and Waddle over Holt and Bruce. I'm sorry. I like Braxton as my number 3. I'm taking it. And Jonathan Taylor, listen, I'm not ready to say he's Marshall Faulk, but I will say 2021 was a Marshall Faulk-esque season. So I know he's got that capability in him. Let's go, baby. I'm ready for Vince. I'm ready for Vincent. Akeem, don't sleep on my boy Braxton. Don't sleep on my boy Braxton. I think, we're deeper when you go to Izakama, Cedric. I think we're deeper at receiver than they were. So, listen, and Tua, I think you got that Kurt Warner. So, I'm good, man. I see a lot of similarities. A lot of parallels between those if we can add a player like Jonathan Taylor. Now, albeit Orlando Pace was much more healthier than Terron Armstead, but when you talk about the level of play those two bring you at, it's next level. It's elite. Right? That's just what it is. So, keeping on here, let's keep it rolling. The Dolphins, they named their team captains today. Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Terron Armstead, Christian Wilkins, Xavier Howard, Javon Holland, all returning captains from last year and replacing Landon Roberts, the newly extended Alec Ingold. Love it. I loved that Alec Ingold extension. While I was sitting there, 10 in the Bahamas, and that came across, I loved it. Fantastic. We just scratched the surface of what he can be in this offense last year. Because let's be honest, he left some tubs on the field that Tua delivered to him on wheels and on wheel routes and such. Right? We just have scratched the surface with that man and what he can do in this offense. I love where it's headed with that man. I think we got potentially the most well-rounded and best fullback in the NFL. Everyone knows I'm an Alec Ingold fan. Love that man. Loved him since Oakland or Las Vegas, whatever you want to say. I'm a huge, him and Hunter Renfrow were two guys that I just love to watch out there that I thought were so super talented. And Josh Jacobs, of course. But just so super talented. And Alec Ingold, Absolutely fantastic extension. Love to see the C put on his chest. It's beautiful stuff, man. It's beautiful stuff. All right. Let's keep it rolling. From Barry Jackson today. Barry Jackson, this is what he dropped today because McDaniel had his presser. We got some things to go over in this. So the Dolphins named Mike White their number 2 quarterback on Monday and re-signed receiver Robbie Chosen this time to their practice squad. Boy, do I got thoughts. We're going to talk about that in a second. Randy Charlton was released from the practice squad in a corresponding move. And must I say, I love our practice squad. Julian Hill was the Tanner Connor of this year, the surprise that caught everyone. Everyone thought, Julian Hill. Whoa, did Neil have him? I don't remember if Neil had him, but he caught a lot of people by surprise by making it. Love to see it. Love to see that this kid loves to be a 6th lineman. Love it. So let's see the Julian Hill development. Hopefully he becomes something. Now, losing Ryan Hayes and Elijah Higgins. Ryan Hayes, meh. Elijah Higgins, I liked that project. He was more interesting to me than Tanner Connor. So that sucks. That's why he had the most waiver claims put in of any player. But anyways, continue on. Chosen gives the Dolphins a 7th veteran wide receiver behind obviously Hill, Waddle, Braxton, Cedric, Eric is a comment. And I told y'all they loved River Craycraft. I've been telling y'all all offseason. I don't know how, but they wanted to make that work. They did. Under NFL practice squad rules, Chosen can be used in 3 games this season while remaining on the practice squad. Riley Webb and Braylon Sanders are the only other receivers on the practice squad. In other news Monday, McDaniel said that number 2 quarterback job was a tough decision between White and Skylar Thompson. White was the Jets' backup quarterback last season and agreed to terms with the Dolphins during the first 2 hours of free agency in March. Mike White and Skylar Thompson competed all the way up until the last rep, McDaniel said, praising the command that White exudes in the huddle and how quickly he learned the offense. We are relying on his veteran experience, he said. In injury news, Brandon Jones, Devon Achane, and Jalen Waddle were ready to practice Monday, McDaniel said. All seem to be gearing up and trending upwards for Sunday's opener at the Chargers. Let's go. 4:25. I'll be live for it here, baby. You already know what time it is. Waddle, who has been dealing with a midsection injury, has said he expects to play on Sunday. Jones didn't play in preseason, and the team handled him cautiously as he recovered from last October's ACL injury. Left tackle Teron Armstead, who is nursing a leg injury, was not ready to practice on Monday, but is progressing well, McDaniel said. If Armstead cannot play on Sunday, Kendall Lamb would likely start. Besides Armstead, 2 other Dolphins sat out practice, Justin Bethel and Elijah Campbell, who are both nursing leg injuries that wasn't serious enough to put them on the injured reserve. McDaniel declined to say if Isaiah Wynn will be the starting left guard. He started the final 2 games of the preseason. Liam Eichenberg has been dealing with an injury. Meanwhile, agent Drew Rosenhaus said Jeff Wilson should be ready to return from the injured list in the 5th game of the season. Robert Jones, who's also on the IR, will miss 4 to 6 weeks, Rosenhaus said. So, McDaniel also was asked about the Chargers social media schedule release showing an animated version of McDaniel vaping and said a lot of creative people doing a lot of creative things in 2023. So let's talk about a few things. Right now, Armstead is touch and go. I know he's pushing to go on the weekend, so I will have probably more information on that as the week progresses. I'll let y'all know on that. Now, I got a couple things to talk about. I want to talk about Chosen. I want to talk about Skylar. Isaiah Wynn, from what I know, is going to be the starting left guard. So prepare for that he will be the starting left guard on Sunday, barring some unforeseen circumstance. Isaiah Wynn will be the starting left guard on Sunday, all right? Now, continuing further here, I want to talk about Chosen. Robbie Chosen coming back. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. He's going to be given a chance. My friend, Robbie, listen to me closely. When you get called up, you're going to be throwing the football. Make the best of the opportunities because I like your ceiling in this offense, my friend, especially along that sideline. I like that big body. I told all y'all, Braxton, wide receiver 3. It got a little touch and go there for a bit, but Braxton came out wide receiver 3. I'm telling you, that decision too, you got to understand, guys, Tua has a say in that decision as well, right? they're going to ask Tua, not just from what they're seeing, hey, what do you like from the guys outside the top two? Who are the guys you are most comfortable playing with, that you trust, that you like targeting, that you know are going to be at their spots? And Braxton's a machine, baby. I told all y'all, Braxton's going to have a career year under this man. Barring injury, if he stays healthy, he's going to have a career year. I'm telling you. And I hope we can lock him down for the future. I really do. Because I think he's the key to, him, Jalen, and Hill, and then Izakama in the red zone, and what you can do with him out of the backfield. Man, we're going to have a fun season, baby. Let's go. Let's stay healthy. Now, Mike White. Guys, this is politics. Politics as usual, as I like to say on this channel. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, they paid him that amount of money. They guaranteed him that amount of money. Understand, this man won the quarterback 2 job in the concussion protocol. Now, on the flip side, is this over and done with? No, on Skylar. Not by a long shot. And we're going to get into what this means for a third quarterback in a second here, because all your questions you have about emergency quarterbacks and 3 quarterbacks, the answers came out for all of y'all, to all of us today. So we're going to go over that in a second. But look at this from this standpoint, okay, guys? When you talk about, Skylar Thompson, you can't forget about all these people that were telling y'all he's the best quarterback on this roster. He's quarterback 1 last year. All the nonsense that these people were putting out. These same people that berate Tua and act like they know what to talk about the position when it comes to Tua, who held Skylar Thompson on such a pedestal, I want you to realize that the guy you held on a pedestal just got beat out by a guy who's only played a couple of quarters in the preseason for the Dolphins and was in concussion protocol for the rest of the preseason. That's one's gotta hurt. I don't know how you can strike someone's credibility down even harder than that. That one's gotta hurt. Oh, that's an ollie hook on the chin right there to your credibility. Woo! My God, because they're telling you right now Skylar ain't even ready to be QB2 from what they've seen so far. Doesn't look like, listen, we saw some flashes and we heard some flashes in OTAs, but then when the heat of the summer came on and the pads were real, we were really into the pads came on, Skylar started dwindling, right? The spark started going out a little bit. And it just rode that trajectory. So he's got to pick it up, man. Because he'll be replaced next year if he doesn't. He will be replaced. So let's see how that all rolls, man. Let's see how that all rolls. It's a tough one for Skylar. It's a tough one for Skylar. All of us had high expectations. And here we are. And now it is what it is, man. It really is what it is, It's up to him now. The ball is in Skylar's court. He looked like he regressed back from where he was even against the Bills, Because, you got an argument in that Bills game. If Jalen Waddle makes that catch, we're talking about a different ball game, just like we're talking about a different ball game if Tyreek Hill and Trent Sherfield make their catches, their respective touchdown catches against Buffalo in that second game for Tua, let alone if our defense wouldn't have let us down. So, it's in Skylar's hands, man. That sucks. I'm going to tell you this right now. That sucks. As someone who believed in Skylar taking that QB2 step this offseason, that sucks, man. That's tough. Hold on. So, I had faith in him. It is what it is, man. But I never got to this QB1 or best quarterback on the roster nonsense. Those people, whoo! Get that makeup off your face today, man. That ain't looking pretty. That is not looking pretty. So, let's keep it going. We ain't done here because I know people are going to have questions now about QB3. And shout out to Tom Pelissero. Over 475 of you in the chat. I appreciate y'all for coming back. Let's go. here it is. If you got questions, here they are. What is an emergency third quarterback? A club may designate a bona fide quarterback as an inactive emergency third quarterback, which is Skylar Thompson's role, guys, for a regular season or postseason game. The player must be listed on the game day administration report that is submitted prior to the 90-minute meeting, subject to the following. The emergency third quarterback must be on the team's 53-player roster. The player cannot be elevated from the practice squad. The club's starting quarterback and its backup quarterback must also be on the club's 53 roster. A club may also have 2 bona fide quarterbacks on its 47 of 48 player game day active list to designate an emergency third quarterback. A club cannot designate an emergency third quarterback if it has 3 or more bona fide quarterbacks. When is an emergency third quarterback permitted to enter a game? An emergency third quarterback is permitted to enter a game only if the two active quarterbacks of the club are unable to play either by disqualification or injury, including, for example, if QB1 is unable to play and QB2 is being evaluated for an injury. After an emergency third quarterback enters the game, are QB1 or QB2 permitted to return to the game? Yes. If either QB1 or QB2 are evaluated for injury and cleared to return, either may enter the game again. Are teams allowed to list players who play other positions as an emergency third quarterback? No. Players who play positions other than quarterback are prohibited from being listed as the emergency third quarterback. For example, a tight end who wears jersey number 80 is not eligible to be designated as an emergency third quarterback under the rule. However, such tight end is permitted to play quarterback in a game if it is listed on game day of the 47 out of 48 player active list, unless the emergency third quarterback is in the game. Before the game, are emergency third quarterbacks permitted to participate in warm-ups? Yes. A designated emergency third quarterback may participate in the warm-ups. If quarterback 2 is unavailable for other reasons, such as an equipment issue, the emergency third quarterback cannot enter the game if QB1 is unavailable and QB2 has an equipment issue that requires him to come out of the game. If such a situation occurs, the club can use another player on the active list at quarterback or can take a timeout. Are clubs allowed to use a new rule to develop a quarterback? No, the emergency third quarterback rule is not intended to be a developmental tool. There you go. What are the procedures when a club brings an emergency third quarterback into a game? To enter the game, the emergency third quarterback must report to the referee. That is not required after every play, only when there is a situation that requires the emergency third quarterback to enter or re-enter the game. An unsportsmanlike conduct penalty will be assessed if the emergency third quarterback does not properly report to the referee upon entering the game. The referee will confirm with the head coach that QB1 and QB2 are currently unable to participate, but it is not the responsibility of the referee to determine the legitimacy of the injury or medical examination. Are clubs allowed to play an emergency third quarterback in non-traditional fashion, i.e. wildcat? No, they're not allowed. What is the penalty for violations of these procedures? An unsportsmanlike penalty will be assessed to the club if they violate any of the above procedures. Does the emergency third quarterback have a radio in his helmet? Each club may designate 3 offensive players to use coach-to-player communication. It's the club choice as to whether it designates its emergency third quarterback as one of these 3 players. There you go. What are the procedures for either QB1 or QB2 returning to the game after the club uses the emergency third quarterback? If either QB1 or QB2 is cleared to return to play by the medical staff, such player must re-enter the game by reporting to the referee. At such time, the emergency third quarterback must be removed from the game and is not permitted to continue to play quarterback or any other position. There you go. If either QB1 or QB2 re-enters the game but later can't continue due to disqualification or injury, can that third quarterback come back? Yes, they can come back in. And what is the definition of a bona fide quarterback for the purpose of the emergency third quarterback? A bona fide quarterback is defined as a player who wears a jersey number authorized for a quarterback and is an established quarterback, or is a player who takes regular season snaps only at quarterback during at least 3 consecutive weeks of practice, including any week the player would be listed as an emergency third quarterback. So there you go. That's basically how they're going to be finessing Skylar onto this probably this year. So, little update for y'all. It just came out before we went live. That should answer everyone's questions because a lot of people are going to have a ton of questions regarding that third quarterback rule. I can already see it. Article here from Marcel Louis-Jacques from today. Keeping Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa upright will be tested versus the Chargers. The football world has heard plenty about the offseason of Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, specifically the jiu-jitsu and breakfall training he learned to avoid head injuries after concussions truncated his 2022 season. He even demonstrated new techniques in the preseason when he tucked and rolled after a handful of hits during 2 appearances. But that was 4 drives against teams without an elite pass rusher, and the Dolphins' Week 1 opponent has 2. Miami travels to Los Angeles on September 10th to take on the Chargers at 4:25 p.m. Eastern, which will be live on around 4:15 that day, who have 2 of the best pass rushers over the past decade, Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. They're healthy and they're ready to go and have combined for over 126 sacks, 159 disrupted dropbacks, and 36 forced fumbles. The duo played only 5 games together last season as Boa missed 12 with a groin injury, but now healthy, the tandem should provide an immediate test for Tagovailoa and an offensive line that still has questions to answer. Miami's pass block win rate of 55.6 ranked 9th worst in the NFL last season and was 46.6 in 2021, so it got better under McDaniel at least, which was its league worst in 2021. Taron Armstead and Connor Williams had an influx of talent to the O-line a season ago, and they returned to their roles in 2023. So does Robert Hunt, who has started the past 34 regular season games at the position. With the offensive line, we're happy with it, Chris Greer said Wednesday. I think you've seen progress in the last 2 years with fundamentals and teaching the offense in the preseason. In the run game, they've done some good things, so we're excited for the guys with the group we have here. Like anything, we're always looking here on the roster, but we're happy with guys here. Coaches are very happy, so I think this is a group that we can win with and we'll continue to keep building with and working with. The 2 biggest questions remain at left guard and right tackle, where Liam Eichenberg and Austin Jackson entered training camp as starters after missing time last season and ankle injuries respectively. Jackson turned in a strong camp in 2022 before injuring his right ankle in week 1 and playing only 1 more game for the rest of the season. He said he remained present at the facility and in team meetings while injured in order to stay locked in, and feels like he has turned the best camp of his 4-year career this summer, conveniently enough when he needs to get paid. The Dolphins declined to exercise his 5th-year option in May, but the former first-round pick has embraced the responsibility of protecting to his blind side as he plays for his future with the organization. I love the responsibility. I truly do. Jackson said, "It's what I get up and work for. It's what I get up and train for. It's what I study for. It's what I take care of my body for. So we can be dominant. We can be the dominant line that we need to be in order for Tua to keep being himself. He's a great quarterback. He's going to get the ball out anyways, but he needs more time from us, and that's a responsibility we take every single day." Eichenberg, on the other hand, is not entrenched as a team starter. Miami signed former first-round picks Isaiah Wynn, Cedric Ogbuehi this offseason. While only Wynn made the initial 53-man roster, he has proved to be a challenge for Eichenberg's role. Second-round pick in 2021. Eichenberg's play has been shaky since entering the league. In that span, his 82.6 pass block win rate ranked 182nd out of 189 qualified linemen. For reference, Wynn's 86.8 ranks 159th. But remember, that's between left tackle and the disaster at right tackle last year where he should have never been. While Williams' 92.7 leads all Dolphins linemen and ranks 55th in the NFL. Eichenberg finished the preseason injured, giving Wynn an opportunity to take even more starting reps at left guard. Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel did not name a starter, but he did say Eichenberg would serve as the backup to Williams at center, along with Lester Cotton. It's Isaiah Wynn, ladies and gentlemen. That's why. Eichenberg tried to power through his injury toward the end of the preseason, but his unavailability certainly didn't help him hold on to that job that might have already slipped through his grasp. We had to kind of hold Liam back. He was determined, but we didn't think it was fair from an evaluation standpoint to put him out there to try and protect him from himself. McDaniel said after the Dolphins' second preseason game, "We'll make sure that we don't do anything on our side that we can prevent." I thought Isaiah got his feet wet in the system to a degree. I think he did a real good job trying to attack our techniques, and there's stuff he wants to improve on. So, guys, that's another thing, right? Like, we didn't bring a legitimate number 2 center onto this roster, right? And what's funny is, remember I tweeted out that Connor Williams' bad snapping was wanting to make me see Eichenberg at center a little bit more. Well, apparently that was the same for our Miami Dolphins, because Eichenberg, it looks like they liked what they saw in OTAs and early on, and they haven't liked what they've seen at left guard from him, and he's being shifted to center now. So we are now onto what? The fourth position change? What? He's played left tackle, right? We're on the fifth. He's played every position on the offensive line trying to fit him in. And I said, center might be the best shot. Here we go. Let's see what happens. 458 of you in the room. Please smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. We're going to see what happens. We are going to see what happens. But I'm actually intrigued by Eichenberg as center too. I'm not going to lie. Let's see where this goes. Maybe they found the spot for him. Because I'm going to tell you this much. Connor Williams, we're going to have to clean all that nonsense up in terms of his fumbling. We can't afford that. We can't afford that at all. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Clay of ESPN put out the preseason power rankings. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles are 1 and 2. The Bills are 3. The Bengals are 4. And there are your Miami Dolphins ranked by ESPN. Mike Clay, who does great work over there, number 5 overall on the power rankings in the preseason. Says Miami's defense arguably tops the NFL on paper, even with Jalen Ramsey out for a few months. And Tagovailoa was terrific during a breakout 2022 season. I think those Bills are a little too high. I think it's falling. I think they're going to be falling this year, guys. And there you go. I told y'all we're a top 5, top 4 team. Top 6 at worst, and I believe that. I stand by that. I ain't gonna lie. I stand by that 110%. I think this is what it is, man. I really think. Look at that. First of all, for the top 5 teams are in the AFC, shows you how tough this AFC is, right? And you got Tagovailoa, Tua, man, I think he's going to be healthy this year. I ain't worried. I know Mike Clay also predicted us to be the 3rd best defense when it came to points allowed. He predicted the San Francisco 49ers to allow 332 points, the Saints to allow 333, and us to allow 341. So to be the 3rd toughest defense in the NFL to score against, I like seeing that. I think we're going to be a top 10 scoring offense again as well. If we are a top 5 scoring defense and in terms of points allowed and a top 10 scoring offense, buddy, be ready, huh? Be ready. Keep your eye on those prices for Super Bowl tickets. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say, man. I truly believe it. I truly believe it. This got the makings of a special team this year. I think it's going to happen, man. I think it's going to happen. So, man, it's a pleasure to be back. I missed all y'all. Over 460 of you in the return right now on Labor Day, 5:30 p.m. I appreciate all y'all. Man, don't forget, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, meet Dudley, Do Wrong, Neil Driscoll, Richmond Webb, Mr. Ballgame, the homie Kevin Dern. Martin's going to be back. We're doing our regular season roundtable. You're not going to want to miss that. 9 p.m. tomorrow night. We're going to do game-by-game predictions. We're going to do season predictions. It's going to be a good show. We do it every year. We've done it every year on this channel. The next installment is tomorrow. And then obviously I'll be back Wednesday with Richmond and Ballgame. Thursday with Neil. Friday, our first preview show of the year. We'll be previewing the Chargers and the Dolphins on Friday. And then, guys, it's back on Sunday. Live reacting to Dolphins and Chargers as well as after the game. It's back. The first episode of the 2023 season. The 4th quarter post-game show where it's an open panel for all of you who watch to come up after the game and vent or celebrate any Dolphins win or loss. The floor is going to be all yours. And then I'm working on a special little addition to the lineup that'll hopefully start next week. I'll have more news on that as it unfolds, but I got something coming for all y'all. So, man, I missed all y'all. We back at it. Back at it, man. And I know it was a wild week. You know, we had all that Jonathan Taylor stuff, Christian Wilkins with the Zach Skylar pivot. You know, listen, I'm going to say this. You know, guys, with Wilkins and me hearing he wants $24 million a year, all of a sudden what I told you guys about with playing him on the franchise tag, I think that becomes a viable option that I think it's going to be, hey, if you don't play financial ball with us, even if you go and have 8 or 9 sacks this year, we're not paying you $24 million. I just don't think they're coming up there. So I think they're going to say, listen, we can get you on the franchise tag at our price. We've got Skylar. I don't know, man, it's going to be very interesting to see. We know they're willing to extend Skylar in gold, give Jonathan Taylor a top running back contract while letting it ride out with Wilkins. Now, I don't know what magic Brandon Shore and Chris Greer got up their sleeve, but I'm going to tell you this right now. As we continue, we're going to be continued tied to Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry, I think, as we go to the trade deadline before one of them is moved. I've been told, again, Jonathan Taylor, you know, not only can he not come off PUP till October, but the relationship is basically irreparable because his camp knows 2 teams were willing to give him that contract in terms of the Packers and the Dolphins. And, you know, this might be a thing where injury comes up even after he comes off PUP and he's trying to force his way out. It's best they cut bait, they make the move, and they get rid of him. We'll see how it rolls, but, man, we are about to get in some interesting times because if they trade for Jonathan Taylor, because it's still very much on the table, or they pursue him in the offseason if he somehow gets out of Indy's grips, ladies and gentlemen, all of a sudden, how are they fitting Wilkins' money in there? So, listen, if he's willing to play ball, I mean, the franchise tag next year, I believe, is around $20 million. That's probably where they're in and around. So, we'll see how it rolls out. But, guys, we got the content coming for you. Remember, I'll be live 7 times a week, twice on Sunday, and, you know, all 5 days, Monday through Friday. So, content galore coming y'all way. Guys, and we're literally under 40 away from 12,000. Smash the like button. Subscriber for new. Push it. Do me this favor. We were at, 11,961. And we're not over here buying subscribers or followers on Twitter because we're insecure. We've been doing authentic, 110% in the real way from day one. So keep helping this channel grow, and let's keep it rolling, baby. I love each and every one of you. I appreciate each and every one of you. And oh baby, we are into the first week of the NFL. It all starts on Thursday. Let's get it, baby. The march to the Vince Lombardi Trophy begins. Let's go, and I can't wait to take this journey with all y'all this season. Fins up all day, every day, all the way. I will see all y'all tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Me, Dudley Do Wrong, Martin, Neil, Richmond, the whole cast. Tune in. Love all y'all. See y'all then. Fins up, baby.